Imagine waking up tomorrow to discover your car needs a $2,000 repair. Your employer announces unexpected layoffs, or a medical emergency suddenly leaves you with bills you never planned for. Would your finances survive? Or would you immediately reach for a credit card? For millions of people, one unexpected expense is enough to completely destroy months or even years of financial progress because they have no emergency fund to protect themselves when life takes an unexpected turn. The truth is that financial freedom doesn't begin with becoming a millionaire. It begins with being able to handle life surprises without falling into debt every single time something goes wrong. That's exactly why one simple financial habit has quietly transformed the lives of countless wealthy individuals. And it's called building an emergency fund before focusing on almost anything else. An emergency fund is simply money set aside for genuine emergencies such as job loss, medical expenses, urgent home repairs, or unexpected car problems, allowing you to solve financial challenges without borrowing money at high interest rates. Many people believe emergency funds are only necessary for wealthy families, but the reality is exactly the opposite because people with limited savings often need them the most. Without an emergency fund, every surprise becomes a financial crisis, forcing people to rely on credit cards, personal loans, or borrowing from family just to cover expenses that could have been handled with proper preparation. This creates a dangerous cycle where emergencies lead to debt. Debt creates larger monthly payments, and those payments make it even harder to save for the next unexpected expense. One of the biggest reasons people never build an emergency fund is because they believe they need thousands of dollars before getting started. But that's one of the most expensive financial myths you can believe. The goal isn't to save a huge amount overnight. The goal is to begin building the habit of protecting yourself one paycheck at a time, even if you start with just $25 or $50 each week. Small, consistent contributions may not seem exciting at first, but over time they grow into something much more valuable than money. They create confidence, stability, and peace of mind. Financial experts often recommend keeping 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses in an emergency fund because that amount provides enough breathing room to handle most unexpected situations without making desperate financial decisions. For someone whose monthly essentials total $3,000, that means an emergency fund of around $9,000 to $18,000. But don't let those numbers discourage you because every dollar saved is one less dollar you'll have to borrow later. Instead of aiming for the final goal immediately, focus on reaching your first milestone. Whether that's $500, then $1,000, then 1 month of expenses, gradually building your financial safety net over time. Another common mistake is confusing an emergency fund with a vacation fund or shopping account because emergency savings should only be used for situations you couldn't reasonably predict or avoid. Buying the latest phone, taking a weekend trip, or upgrading your furniture may be enjoyable, but those aren't emergencies. And using emergency savings for planned spending defeats the entire purpose of building the fund in the first place. The people who stay financially stable during difficult times aren't always the ones earning the highest salaries. They're often the ones who prepared in advance for problems they hoped would never happen. That's why an emergency fund is often called financial insurance, because while you hope you never need it, you'll be incredibly grateful. It's there when life suddenly changes without warning. So how do you actually build an emergency fund without feeling overwhelmed? The answer is surprisingly simple. Treat your savings like a monthly bill that must be paid, not something you'll save only if there's money left over at the end of the month. The easiest way to do this is by setting up an automatic transfer from your checking account to a separate savings account every time you get paid because automation removes the temptation to spend money before saving it. Even if you start with just $50 or $100 from each paycheck, consistency is far more important than the amount because small deposits made regularly grow into substantial financial protection over time. Another important rule is keeping your emergency fund separate from your everyday spending account because if your savings are too easy to access, you'll be tempted to spend them on things that aren't true emergencies. Many financially successful people even give their emergency fund a specific name like financial safety net or emergency only because labeling your savings makes you think twice before using it for unnecessary purchases. It's also important to remember that an emergency fund should be safe and accessible, not invested in risky assets that could lose value right when you need the money most. The purpose of this money isn't to generate huge investment returns, it's to provide immediate financial security during life's unexpected challenges, allowing you to solve problems without creating new ones. Once you've built a strong emergency fund, you'll notice something remarkable begins to happen because your financial decisions become calmer, smarter, and less emotional. Instead of panicking when unexpected expenses appear, you'll have the confidence to handle them without relying on high-interest credit cards or personal loans that can trap you in debt for years. An emergency fund also gives you something even more valuable than money. It gives you options, because having savings allows you to leave a toxic job, take time to find better opportunities, or handle family emergencies without immediately worrying about your next paycheck. Many people think wealth is measured only by how much money someone has invested. But true financial security also comes from knowing you can survive difficult moments without your entire financial life falling apart. Imagine receiving an unexpected $3,000 repair bill and simply paying it from your emergency fund instead of adding it to a credit card that charges high interest for years afterward. That single decision could save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars while protecting your peace of mind and keeping your long-term financial goals on track. Remember, emergencies are never scheduled, which is exactly why preparing before they happen is one of the smartest financial decisions you'll ever make. The people who recover fastest from financial setbacks aren't always the highest earners. They're the ones who planned ahead, stayed disciplined, and built a financial cushion before they actually needed it. Every dollar you save today is buying more than future security. It's buying confidence, flexibility, lower stress, and the freedom to face unexpected challenges without fear. Start with your first $500, then your first $1,000, and continue building one milestone at a time, because every step brings you closer to a future where unexpected expenses no longer control your life. The emergency fund rule is simple: save before you need it, protect it until you truly need it, and let it become the financial foundation that supports every other wealth-building goal you pursue. If you found today's video valuable, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on notifications, because every week we share practical financial strategies that help ordinary people build lasting wealth, reduce financial stress, and achieve true financial freedom one smart decision at a time.